what's up you guys? It's Melinda, and today I figured I would film a birth story of how my precious daughter Alicia came into the world. So if you like sitting and listening to these type of stories, then just keep on watching. So my daughter's name is Alicia. She will be 7 weeks tomorrow. She was born on November 18th, which was a Saturday. So the days leading up to that Saturday, I had been feeling menstrual cramps, mostly at night, but nothing too bad, just sporadic. There was no pattern to them whatsoever, so I knew that it wasn't necessarily labor. I had been sitting on a yoga ball, trying to get things going. I had reasons for wanting her to come a little early. I can discuss that in another video if you guys want to know, but I was going to have to be induced at 39 weeks, and I really didn't want to go through the induction process. So for me, I just really wanted things to get going. Like I said, if you guys are interested in hearing that story, I can film that as well. So it was Friday, the day before she was born, a normal day. I didn't have any symptoms of anything, and my usual tiredness set in. Like I said, I was 38 weeks pregnant. I was really tired. I was kind of done being pregnant, to be honest. I had a lot of things, certain complication that made pregnancy really difficult for me at this time. So by about 9 o'clock, I was in bed, extremely tired, fell asleep, and then at a certain point, I was feeling cramps like in my sleep. I knew I was having cramps. So it was about 11:30, I woke up and I had some pretty bad cramps. So I just watched the clock and tried to see if there was any pattern to them. I started noticing that they were coming about every 7 to 9 minutes. So it was kind of exciting to me. I'm like, I think there's a pattern here. But I didn't want to get too excited yet, so I didn't wake my husband or anything. I just kind of laid and watched TV in bed, and I had a contraction counter app on my phone, and that is supposed to alert you when it's time to go to the hospital. So every 5 minutes for a minute-long contractions, and then it's time to go. So I just was counting my contractions, and it was about an hour later. So I want to say it was about 12:30, I guess. Yeah, I guess it was like 12:30. I finally woke my husband and I said, I think I may be in labor. I'm having cramps and they're consistent now. And he just was like, oh, like he got shocked and got up right away. And I said, let's just wait. Let's just lay here and play things out. I don't want to go anywhere if it's false labor. So, and I wasn't in enough pain to really panic about anything. So I just said, let's just labor here at home. I did call the doctor and let them know what was going on. And I said, is there a certain point that I need to go? And she just told me, really, as long as I am comfortable, I can stay home. Once I'm starting to not be able to talk through contractions, then I need to go to the hospital. So I was like, no, honestly, right now I'm fine. They were coming about every 6 minutes by then. So I just said, let's stay home. She did advise me to just try to walk around, get things moving. So I got up and just started pacing through the apartment, back and forth, back and forth. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna get myself ready. I think this is gonna happen tonight. So I straightened my hair and put some light makeup on. I always told myself I wanted to do that, so I made sure I did it, even though I was having contractions. They were very manageable, so I just did what I could. And then I hit a point where my contractions were coming every 3 minutes, and everything that I've always heard was that once they're 5 minutes apart, baby's coming, go to the hospital. That's not really true. So I had them every 3 minutes. And because I was documenting them on this app, the app was alerting me, call an ambulance. It actually said, call an ambulance, don't drive. You need to get to the hospital. And that alert kept popping up, and it was freaking me out because I felt fine. I mean, I had contractions, I had cramps, menstrual cramps, but I was still working through them. It was uncomfortable, but I just was kind of tripped out. Like, what? Why shouldn't I be in more pain if they're coming every 3 minutes? So the app was kind of getting in my head because the doctor did say you don't want to wait. Once they're about 4 minutes apart, you really should get to the hospital. Don't wait much longer than that. So I kind of started freaking out. I'm like, I feel fine, but I think we should just go to the hospital anyways. Once we decided that we were going to go to the hospital, I just told my husband, don't tell anybody anything yet. I don't want to get anybody super excited or in a rush right now in case it's false labor. I have heard stories where women swear they're in labor and it's false. So I said, let's just go to the hospital, get checked, and we'll go from there. So we got to the hospital. It was only like a 5-minute drive. Like I said, I was still able to walk, able to talk, was fine. So they got me in a hospital gown and into a room right away, and they checked me, and I was 3 centimeters. I was so excited about that because I really did not want to be the girl that feels this pain and they're like, you're at 1 centimeter. So I was pretty happy about that. They told me to walk around the hospital for about an hour and they would check me again. And if I was 4 centimeters, that's considered active labor and I would have to stay. So I walked around. I was 4 centimeters after an hour. So I was really happy because things were progressing the way that they should. So yeah, they admitted me. At that point, I was no longer able to eat or do anything like that. I could only drink water or juice. It was about 6 that I was at 5 centimeters, and I still felt fine. My contractions were nothing that I thought they would be at 5 centimeters. I hear some women are just like vomiting already. I was kind of tripped out. Like, I feel okay. So yeah, I was 5 centimeters at 6 o'clock. And then my mistake was I allowed myself to take a nap. So I stopped walking and I went to sleep, and that pretty much like stalled my labor. I stopped progressing and my contractions stopped. I felt normal again, and so that was pretty disappointing. They just told me, at this point you need to be up walking. You can't rest. I was so tired. So I continued walking. No progression. It was about noon at this point, and I still had not progressed. So they were advising that I go on Pitocin and that they pop my water. I really didn't want to, but at that point, I just wanted to get things going. So I allowed them to put me on Pitocin. Within about 30 minutes, the contractions hit me really hard, and that's when things really started going. So I got the Pitocin at around, I think it was 12 or 12:30, and I dealt with the contractions for a few hours. They came on really strong, and then they started getting really close together. So it was about 2 or 2:30, this is Saturday now, that I was having contractions that were lasting 2 minutes, and they were coming every 2 minutes. So I was only really having a small period of time where I was okay. It was painful. I was definitely, grabbing my husband's hand. There was like one contraction where a tear came out involuntarily, like it just came out, and I was in some good pain at that point. Still, I felt like I could, hold off on the epidural. I always knew I was going to get the epidural. That's the other thing. I felt like I could hold off. They were saying, but at that point, the doctor was saying, if you want the epidural, we need to do it now because your contractions are so close together. That window of when they can put the epidural in me is closing. So I said, okay, let's just do the epidural now and get that out of the way. Like I said, I still felt like I could keep going, but I knew I didn't want to risk not being able to get it at all. So we did it. That was about 2:30. Within minutes, literally probably like 2-3 minutes, I had no more pain. I could not feel contractions anymore. The epidural, the hardest part was anticipating the needle. I felt like I was just waiting and waiting and waiting for it, but it wasn't that painful. It definitely is a uncomfortable sharp pinch and like a heat and some weird sensations in your back that I didn't know I would feel, but it wasn't too bad. Like I said, it helped me tremendously. I felt so much better after. And then I went pretty numb, and I'm somebody who doesn't like anything feeling numb. It makes me feel panicky. So that was the hardest thing. After getting the epidural, I didn't feel pain, but I was trying to contain anxiety. I was still able to move my legs fairly well. Like if they needed me to roll over, I could do it, but it was really difficult. So I wasn't somebody that could not move at all. I could, but that numb feeling was just getting to me. That's something I don't like feeling. It felt like kind of like sandbags for legs. I don't know how else to describe that, but that was something that was bothering me. They came in a couple hours later. My contractions were going really good, but I still wasn't fully progressing. I think I was still at like 7 centimeters, I believe. So they decided at that point it was a good time to break my water. So they did, and as soon as they did that, it was only a couple hours that I was in labor. Things progressed really quickly after that. I just laid around the hospital with my family, and at about 9 o'clock, I was 10 centimeters, and so oh, another thing, I'm just remembering, I got the shakes really bad from the epidural. I hear different things. Some people say it's the actual epidural itself, but my doctors were telling me that it was hormones that come with labor, that it's a hormonal shift, and I was shaking like a leaf. I was like this, and I couldn't help it. So I was kind of embarrassed. I was trying to hide it. My lips were chattering, and I just felt like, oh my gosh, do I look like a wimp right now or something? Like I just need to calm down, but I really could not control the shaking. But the doctors saw it, and she said, no, that's a good thing. We want you to shake like that. That's your hormones doing what they need to do. So that made me feel better. At about 9 o'clock, I was 10 centimeters, and my camera just overheated and it cut me off. So anyways, they wanted me to do some practice pushes. They did want her to be a little further down in the birth canal. So they said, let's do some practice pushes. We'll see how you do. If you're not pushing very good, we're gonna wait for her to come down before we start the whole laboring process. I did about 3 practice pushes, and within those 3 pushes, the baby's head was poking out. So they were like, oh, let's do this now. She's ready, you're a good pusher. So I started pushing, and it was really difficult. There was a few times where I started seeing stars, like I was pushing so hard, I was afraid I was gonna pass out. But I didn't, I was okay. And I had my mother-in-law, and my husband with me. I did have the mirror in front so I could see everything that was going on, and that really helped with the pushing, and the doctor said that it would. She said that sometimes it helps to see the progression. So I would recommend doing that if you can. So I could see everything going on, and I pushed for about 45 minutes, and she came out. So I was afraid. Some people were telling me that they've pushed for like 2 or 3 hours, because the epidural can make it difficult to feel if you're pushing correctly. I had the perfect epidural. I could feel everything. I could feel all the pressure. I could not feel the contractions, but I could feel how I was pushing. I could feel the pressure. I could feel her coming down. So it was perfect. I know some women can't feel any of that. So it definitely went perfectly for me. They said I was really good at pushing. I knew how to push properly. And it's not like pushing when you go poop. Some people say that, and I'm going to be gross, but it's a little different. I don't know how to explain it, but you'll feel it when you're doing it. So yeah, it was a really good experience. When she came out, she was 7 pounds 14 ounces. It was 9:45 at night, and it was an amazing experience. I'm so glad I got the epidural, because instead of being in excruciating pain, I was just focusing on pushing and watching my daughter come into the world through the mirror. It was a very special time, and I would highly recommend getting an epidural. But if you can do it naturally, I have so much respect for women that can do that. It is an amazing feat that women can accomplish, and I have so much respect for women who get the epidural, don't get the epidural, C-section. After seeing what the body can do, I am so amazed and so blessed that I had that experience, and that I was blessed enough to give birth to a healthy baby girl. There's nothing better than that, nothing more I could ask for. Yeah, so it was definitely an amazing experience. I was exhausted after. I had not slept really in 24 hours at that point. And then now had to care for a newborn, which is crazy, but it's amazing the things that we can do. So yeah, that is how my daughter came into the world, surrounded by people who love her so much. We had all of our family come in, and it was just an amazing experience. So I hope you guys enjoyed my story. Just know that I know there are a lot of horror stories and women who just have such excruciating pain, and that's more typical, I know, but just know that your experience can be different from that. You may be able to tolerate the pain. I felt like labor wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I really built it up in my head to be this scary thing, and it wasn't that way at all. I really felt I had a great experience. Well, I hope you enjoyed the birth story of my precious baby Alicia. You will see her more in videos. Right now she's asleep with her daddy, so I'm able to film this. Let me know in the comments of videos that you guys want to see. I think I might do something more beauty related next, maybe a mommy makeup time where I do my makeup and just chat with you guys about motherhood and some of the struggles and amazingness of it. So just let me know in the comments of things that you guys want to see. Thank you so much for those of you guys who have already subscribed to my channel. This is so new and exciting to me, so I hope to continue making videos for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Bye.